Hello बच्चों, today we will do our next lesson. Robinson Crusoe discovers a footprint from unit 3. So Robinson Crusoe is an English novel, okay, and it is a timeless story of a merchant's adventures at sea. As you can see in this picture, he is Mr. Robinson Crusoe. He was living on an island for many years as his ship was destroyed by the sea. So it is a story of self-reliance and personal growth of a man. And this novel was published on 1719 and written by Daniel Dafoe. It was considered one of the best English novels, and this story is inspired by a real life. And today we will cover a part of that in this lesson. So let's start the lesson. Robinson Crusoe's ship had been destroyed by the sea. His ship had been demolished by the sea. He had been alone for many years and longed for company, as he was living alone for so many years and now he wanted company. Longed for means wanted. One day he discovers a footprint on the sand. Let's find out what he did then. So let's read the story to find out what he did with the footprint. One day when I was going towards my boat, I was surprised to see the footprint of a man on the sand. I stood amazed, I listened, I looked around me. I could neither hear nor see anything. I went up higher to look down. I went up the shore and down the shore. Shore means seaside. But it was no good. No good means worthless. I could find no other footprint but that one. I went to it again to see if there were any more footprints and to tell if it had been my imagination. So what happened? One day when he was going in the direction of his boat, and do you know what did he see? Yes, he saw a footprint. But where did it come from? He thought, as it was his imagination. No, I was not mistaken, for there was exactly the print of a foot, toes, heel, every part of a foot. I could not imagine how it came there. He was unable to imagine that where did it come from. He was not mistaken because it had all the parts of a foot, the toes, the heel. है ना? I stayed a long time thinking but became more and more confused. Now he stood there confused. At last I returned home very frightened, looking behind me after every 2 or 3 steps, mistaking every bush and tree to be a man. So now his confusion turned into fear. He kept looking behind and thought that every bush was a man. When I came to my cave, which I called my castle means fort, I ran inside it as if I was being chased. I do not remember whether I used the ladder or went in by the hole in the rock, which I called the door. I ran for cover faster than any animal could run. Okay, so when he reached his castle, he ran inside as if he was being chased. He ran faster than any animal. I did not sleep that night. The more I thought about what I had seen, the more afraid I became. So what happened that night? He did not sleep the whole night. The more he thought, the more afraid he became. है ना? I thought it could be one of the savages of mainland who had wandered out to the sea in a small boat. So what did he think? He thought it could only be the savages. Savages means होता है cannibal यानी wild people. Okay. So he thought it would be a cannibal of the mainland who had wandered out to the sea. Luckily, I was not on the shore at that time. Shore means, as I told you, seaside. But what if he had seen my boat? If he had seen the boat, he would have realized that someone lived on the island and would soon return with others to kill and eat me. So he thought they would definitely return to kill him if they see his boat. And so I lay fearful for many days and prayed for protection. In doing so, I was much comforted and began going out to investigate. But even now, as I went forward, I looked behind me frequently because I was still very frightened. So, what happened with him? He tried to investigate about the matter. He wanted to know actually what has happened on the island. So he lay there fearful for many days and prayed for his protection. He started exploring after a few days. However, as I went about for 2 or 3 days and saw nothing, I became a little bolder. I decided to go down to the shore again and examine the footprint once more. I decided to measure it with my own footmark. So he saw nothing after an investigation, है ना? So then he became bolder than before. He decided to measure the footprint with his own. He wanted to see whether they were his own footprint or somebody else's. As I came closer to the footprint, I realized that it could not be my footprint because I had not come to this part of the beach since a long time. Secondly, as I placed my foot alongside that footprint, it seemed larger than my own. My fear returned. I went home again, believing that there was someone there. The island was inhabited. So, what happened after investigation? The footprints were larger than his own feet. So, now his fear returned. His fear come back. He concluded that the island was inhabited, means people were already living on that island. He was not alone on that island. Somebody already living on that island. Okay, so this is the little part of that novel. This is not the whole story. If you wanted the whole story, I will tell you in another video. Okay, thank you very much.